Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right in, because we're looking at a massive, fundamental shift happening in the cybersecurity landscape right now. If you operate in a regulated sector, you know the drill, that traditional once-a-year scramble to get your paperwork in order for the annual cybersecurity audit. Well, that is officially dead. By 2026, relying on a simple point-in-time check isn't just outdated, it's a massive liability. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this means for you, and more importantly, how you can adapt.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The end of annual audits. 2. The 2026 regulatory expectations. 3. How continuous compliance actually works. 4. Reducing your regulatory risk. And finally, number 5, adapting for 2026 compliance.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the end of annual audits. You see, traditional annual audits were designed for a much slower digital environment. They basically just gave you a point-in-time validation. But let's be real, in 2026, threats evolve every single day. Literally, new vulnerabilities pop up continuously, and your cloud, SaaS, and third-party dependencies, they're constantly shifting around. Attackers actually specifically exploit the gaps between those old annual audit cycles, so relying on delayed discovery is incredibly dangerous. We absolutely have to shift gears to ongoing assurance and real-time detection. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial point. Compliance is no longer about policies alone. It's about operational proof. Having a giant, thick binder of security policies just sitting on a desk gathering dust? Yeah, that's no longer going to protect you against regulatory action. Regulators want to see the engine actually running. They want hard proof that your controls are working today, right now, not just last November when the auditor happened to visit.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, the 2026 regulatory expectations.
So first things first, we need to clearly define what regulators are actually asking for here. Continuous compliance means, well, exactly that. It's continuously demonstrating that your security controls, your monitoring systems, and your governance frameworks are actively working in real time. It's all about having ongoing, constant visibility into your risk posture, rather than doing that crazy scramble to prove it just once every 12 months. Regulators in 2026 are completely aligned on some very specific expectations. They are demanding continuous monitoring of critical systems, right alongside real-time detection and alerting. They're also expecting regular vulnerability assessments. And here's the kicker, paired with documented proof of exactly how quickly you remediate them. On top of that, ongoing access reviews, active incident response readiness, and continuous vendor risk oversight are now totally mandatory. Listen, missing these leads your business highly exposed to severe operational risk and some major audit observations. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, how continuous compliance works. Now, here are the 4 core pillars of continuous compliance. And hey, I want to assure you right now, this doesn't mean constant operational disruption. When you execute this properly, it relies heavily on automation and structured governance. The 4 steps we're looking at are continuous monitoring and logging, ongoing vulnerability management, real-time incident readiness, and continuous vendor risk assessment. Let's just break each of these down real quick. Okay, Pillar 1. This is all about visibility. Organizations have to maintain centralized logs, track user behavior, and spot anomalies the absolute second they happen. This is exactly where a Security Operations Center, or SOC, becomes absolutely vital. Think of it like this. It's the difference between having a silent security camera recording a break-in and having an alarm that triggers an immediate police response the moment a window shatters. It totally replaces that outdated model of discovering a breach months after the bad guys already got in. Moving to Pillar 2. This replaces the traditional once-a-year vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, commonly known as VAPT. Businesses now need to be running regular vulnerability scans and periodic pen testing. But here's the absolute most critical takeaway for this pillar. Auditors are now focusing heavily on your remediation tracking. It's not just about finding the open doors anymore, it's about proving exactly how quickly you slammed those doors shut once the risks were identified. All right, Pillar 3, incident readiness. This one's all about proving you can actually handle a crisis when things go south. It demands constantly updated response plans, trained teams, simulated live drills, and really clearly defined escalation paths. Honestly, active preparedness matters so much more to modern regulators than just having some written response plans sitting on a shared drive collecting digital dust. You literally have to show them that you've practiced it. And finally, Pillar 4 deals with your supply chain.
Continuous vendor risk assessment requires classifying your vendors by risk, conducting ongoing security reviews, monitoring their access to your systems, and enforcing some very strict contractual cybersecurity obligations. Under the 2026 standards, you really must internalize this stark warning. A vendor's cybersecurity failure is treated directly by regulators as your failure. You are completely responsible for your extended enterprise.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, reducing your regulatory risk. Okay, it's time to address the elephant in the room. This is the most common question executives ask when they see these new requirements. Is continuous compliance going to be more expensive than our old annual audits? It's a completely fair question for sure, but getting to the real answer means we have to step back and look at the bigger picture.
Now, yes, it does require an upfront investment, but think about the massive long-term payoff here. You're preventing devastating data breaches, you're dodging incredibly steep regulatory penalties, and you completely eliminate that massive, exhausting distraction of repeated audit failures and last-minute remediation panics. By identifying and fixing your gaps early, this approach fundamentally reduces your long-term financial and regulatory stress.
With a continuous framework in place, leadership suddenly gains real-time visibility into their actual risk posture. And what does that mean? It means faster remediation of gaps, a much stronger overall cyber resilience, and significantly fewer audit observations. But the best part? There are absolutely zero surprises during regulatory inspections because you are effectively audit-ready every single day of the year. How great does that sound? All right, let's bring it all together in Section 5. Adapting for 2026 compliance. Over 12 years. That is exactly how long Lumiverse Solutions has been operating with certified industry experience. They've been delivering VAPT, ISO 27001, SOC 2, and regulatory compliance that totally aligns with the most stringent global standards out there. Furthermore, they bring this incredibly proven, battle-tested expertise to the table. We're talking about investigating over 850 real-world cybercrime cases. This isn't just theory for them, folks. This is highly practical knowledge derived straight from the front lines of digital security. And just to really cement their objective authority in this space, Lumiverse Solutions has successfully conducted over 1,500 cybersecurity audits across a ton of diverse enterprises and heavily regulated industries. They know exactly what regulators are looking for in 2026. No guesswork involved. Now, Lumiverse's services map directly back to those 4 pillars we just discussed. They provide true end-to-end support. Everything from your initial cybersecurity gap assessments right through to continuous SOC monitoring services. They handle your regular VAPT and that absolutely crucial remediation tracking. They'll even run your incident response readiness drills and help you establish those rigorous vendor risk governance frameworks to make sure your compliance evidence management is totally airtight. I want to leave you with this one final, incredibly vital takeaway. Compliance in 2026 is not a project, it is a process. It honestly requires a complete shift in executive mindset. You have to integrate cybersecurity into your daily operations and automate your evidence collection if you want to stay resilient. So ask yourself right now, are you still relying on those dangerous point-in-time annual checks, or is your organization truly continuous, secure, and inspection ready? Look, don't wait for a huge regulatory fine or a devastating cyber breach to find out. Connect with Lumiverse Solutions and book a free consultation to secure your digital future today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as